Okay, Dennis Young here, Primitive Substance. Glad you're on the channel, enjoying it. Another really special guest, great bassist, Gerry McAvoy, and a long career in music. Played with the great Rory Gallagher, has his own really good band of friends. And Gerry, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's hear about how you got interested in playing the bass and music and how this all started.
Well, it all sort of started, at school when we were at high school, and a guy who was in my class, Brendan O'Neill, who actually became the drummer with Rory eventually.
Okay.
Uh, he wanted to start a band. This was like the '60s. This is like '66, whatever. And he knew that I started to learn guitar, and he asked me if I wanted to come on board, with a bunch of guys that he found, guitar player and a bass player, Brenton on drums, and at that stage myself on guitar. So we sort of formed this band called Pride. That would have been around the end of '66, '67. We were doing like top 40 stuff. We were doing Tom and Motown, soul, because in those days to get a gig you had to play stuff from the top 10, top 20, whatever it may be, and that lasted for a couple of years. With that lineup, sort of two guitars, bass, and drums, and we had a lead singer as well. He was also from our school, a guy called Francis Murphy.
Okay.
He didn't last. Another guy came in. Lineup changes went on through the years.
Right.
And as far as playing bass, our bass player was a trainee butcher. So you can imagine being a trainee butcher, you cut your fingers a lot. So he'd turn up at rehearsals and play the guitar, and of course the bass guitar was covered in blood. So he couldn't.
Oh boy.
He couldn't keep on going. So he more or less left. So our self-appointed leader, a guy called Jim Ferguson, he said, "Okay, McAvoy, you can play the bass," and that was it.
Oh, about that. So, but you're natural at it. I mean, you really are. You got a powerful sound.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
Bass is a backbone and drums are a backbone for any band. So
sure.
You have a good bass and drums, good bass and drum players, and after that, everything takes its place.
It does, yeah. I mean, everybody's important in the band. Everybody is. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and trying to find a good drummer and a good bass player these days, it's not that easy,
No. So what was this Deep Joy band? That was before you met Rory?
That's right, yeah. Well, Pride sort of morphed into Deep Joy.
Okay.
And we made the break from Ireland to England. We ended up with the same agency as Rory's band at the time, Taste. Robert Stigwood organization. So we ended up playing quite a few shows with Taste. With my band Deep Joy, we'd open up for Taste, and so I got to know Rory, not that well, but I sort of got acquainted with him, and that was the initial connection there between the two bands, really.
Was that more of a blues type band, Deep Joy? Did you get into blues playing?
Well, we did a bit of everything. I mean, Pride were, as I said before, I mean, it was top 40. We were playing Tom and Motown, soul classics.
Right.
The Deep Joy, when it morphed into Deep Joy, became a bit more, so this is like 68, 69, a bit more psychedelic, for want of a better word. So it was like a bit of psychedelic blues in there somehow.
Yeah, were you playing those clubs that had like Jack Bruce playing or Cream, or did you get to see those bands?
Yeah, well, I saw Cream in Belfast when they came to Belfast. In fact, Taste. They were the support band for Cream, and they played in a ballroom. It was towards the end of their career, so you could see there was a lot of unhappiness on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a shame, But hey, I saw them, Yeah.
You got to see some legends play. That was really a great time of music, and I feel, I missed it. I missed it because about 10 years, but I wish I was around to see those bands play. So how did you end up working with Rory? I mean, you played with him for like 20 years, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think what happened with both bands, I mean, Taste split up, I think around the October of 1970 in Belfast, funny enough.
Right.
And my band, after we'd spent 10 months in London and on a starvation diet, basically, went back to Belfast. And we split up also on New Year's Eve in Belfast.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to do, whether I wanted to continue or so I was sort of looking around Belfast for different people to play with, and not a lot was happening really. This is also because the Troubles had broken out, and so that was all going on at the same time.
Right.
And I think it must have been about 3 weeks into January 1971, I got a phone call, and it was Rory ringing from London. He got my telephone number from Wilger Campbell, who was the drummer with Deep Joy, who eventually became the drummer with the first Rory Gallagher band. Anyway, and he said, Gerry, so-and-so and so-and-so. He said, would you fancy coming to London just to have a bit of a jam session with myself and Wilger? Because Wilger had stayed in London when I went back to Belfast. So absolutely, I went over. Rory's brother picked me up at the airport, went down to a little studio in Kensington in London, and we played for like 3 or 4 hours, and it was great.
Wow.
Myself, Rory.
I can imagine.
Yeah, well, plus the fact I was a fan. I mean, I used to go and see Taste in Belfast when I was a kid, and so I'm standing there playing with Rory and Wilger, of course, yeah. So it was like, I was pretty knocked out at that stage, yeah. And then that was it. We played the rehearsal, and everybody was happy. Went for a quick pint, and then I went back to the airport, and I didn't hear anything for about 3 weeks. So I thought, well, that's it, maybe he's got somebody else. And then he called again.
No, were you on the first? He called again. Okay.
He telephoned again about 3 weeks later and said, "Do you fancy coming to London to make an album?" I said, "Yeah."
Wow.
And that was
That's great.
He never actually asked me to join the band. It was just, you fancy doing this? You fancy doing that?
And what was it like that first recording, working with Rory in the studio? Did he work fast?
Yeah, I mean, I think after
did it take a long time?
No, it was very quick. I mean, I think after the Taste thing, because there was a bit of a bittersweet ending to all that, thanks to management or whatever, and I think Rory, because he just signed a new contract with Polydor Records, and you could tell that that everything was behind him, and he was looking to the future, and hence that album. I mean, he was, tipping his toes in the water to see what would stick. So he was a bit of pop, a bit of blues, a bit of jazz.
Great album. I mean, just right off the bat. Yeah. Right off the bat, you could tell what a legendary player he was.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's that. And it was very simple the way he wanted to record, because he recorded everything live, basically. If there was any overdubs, it might have been a bit of rhythm guitar here and there, but everything was literally live, vocals included.
Wow, that's the way to do it. So you guys played live in a room, or was it just played?
Yeah, and Ad Vision Studios.
Oh, wow.
It was an amazing studio as well.
Abbey Road, of all places.
Yeah. Ad Vision.
Man.
Yeah.
So who did the producing on that record?
Rory produced it himself.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah. But we had a great engineer, a guy called Eddie Offord, who
of course. Eddie Offord.
Yeah.
Close to the Edge, all those Yes records.
That's right. Yeah, that's the same guy. Yeah. So he was the engineer in that. So he had
that's
the
way to start.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Start at the top.
Man, you did start at the top. You can't get higher than that.
No.
Man. So I really like the Irish tour record too, the live record. That is really intense record.
Yeah.
How'd that come about that you did that? You had a couple live records, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first one was live in Europe. That was the third album in, after the first album, Juice, and then live in Europe. And then Irish Tour 74 came about because of Tony Palmer who's a film producer, who had done a couple of movies, music movies. Yeah, Jack Bruce story he did. He did
Right.
200 Motels, Frank Zappa, and different things. And he was interested in making a film of Rory doing an Irish tour. So hence that's the whole thing. It all started off as a TV show, an hour documentary, and it went further than that. You know, it ended up like an hour and 45-minute movie. You know.
Oh, okay.
So obviously, if it was been filmed, then the idea would be to record it as well. So that's how that came about. You know, first of all from the film point of view, and then Rory decided to, well, let's record it as well for posterity.
Now, were most of the recordings recorded live with you guys playing all together, or were there records where you had separate did separate tracks?
No, it was completely live from the stage.
Oh, that's great. No wonder why it sounds so so energetic.
Yeah. A lot of energy there. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about Roger Glover.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how did you get Roger Glover as a producer? Did he actually produce Calling Card, or did you get somebody else?
He was the producer of Calling Card. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, the record company got him involved. I mean, it didn't go as smoothly as you would like it, because Rory was always Rory had one direction that he wanted to go to, which was fairly a bit raw and a bit rough, and Roger had another idea, which is like quite smooth,
right.
So there's a bit of give and take and all that, you know. But at the end of the day, it all worked out, you know. It worked out. It was a good album, you know.
Now, who did you guys open up for? Like some big groups like Hendrix or any big band major groups back then, or were you the headliners mostly?
Well, it depended where you were. I mean, never Hendrix. No, I mean it was a bit too late for that. But in the States, we opened up for we did quite a few tours with Deep Purple and Fleetwood Mac, the Faces. You know, we did a tour with what's the name? Canadian band, Geddy Lee.
Rush.
Well, Rush actually did the first North American tour supporting Rory.
Oh wow! I bet you nobody.
Yeah, and then they
knows
paid
that.
Rory back.
That's a fact. That's something.
Yeah,
well,
I love. Yeah.
Well, those must have been exciting times doing those concerts. I mean, I love Deep Purple, the Machine Head record, Live in Japan. That was a hot band.
Yeah, good albums.
And I'm sure Rory was respected everywhere he played, right? When he played guitar, I'm sure nobody said anything but great things, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it was a great tour. I mean, it was a long tour. That was like 4 months in the US, you know, everywhere. Yeah, and it was great. It was a great tour. It really was.
Now, what was Rory like off stage? Was he down to earth? Was he? Did he always practice? What was he like?
I mean, he was, on nights off. I mean, on days off, Rory and I, we're movie buffs. We used to love movies, so we'd go to the cinema.
Oh, okay.
Nothing crazy. We, a couple of drinks of an evening or whatever, but nothing, no rock and roll madness.
Yeah, because
there was enough of that around.
Oh boy, it must have been madness back then with a lot of these bands. I'm sure. I'm sure it was a crazy time. And what's the rumor I heard that did he audition for the Rolling Stones, or is that just a story made up?
He did. He went to over to Holland, to Rotterdam. The Stones were recording there.
Oh, okay.
This is after McTiller left, and there was a few people up for the job, but they invited Rory over, and he spent I think it's 2 or 3 nights there recording. But Keith was comatose.
Oh, he recorded with the Stones?
Oh, he recorded with the Stones, yeah.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it as well. If it's there, I'm sure Jagger would have it, or whoever has it, But we were scheduled to go to Japan on the 4th day that Rory would have been in Rotterdam in the studio, and he basically said, "Well, sorry guys, I'm going to have to go because I've got a Japanese tour," So, and that was it. I mean, I don't think Rory would have been the right person for the Stones. You know, psychologically, I don't think that
Okay.
would, you know, because I mean, Rory was a singer as well. He was a front man, you know.
Right,
You
right,
know,
exactly. I was going to say that.
yeah,
I can't see him as a side man to Mick Jagger.
no, no. And I think Ronnie Wood was the perfect choice.
Yep, he was.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Rory's too important in music history to, at that point, to put him in, as a side man.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That would have averted his career a little bit. I thought more amazing things that he did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I really love you playing, Gerry, on Shadow Play. That is a really fantastic song.
Oh, good.
And then I love these other songs, Moonchild, Do You Read Me? I mean, Love Your Boss. I mean, just great, great songs.
Yeah, good songs. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
You guys were able to mix the blues in with, rock and roll.
Yeah, well, I think it was down to Rory's writing, you
To
know, because I
really,
mean,
you guys had a really unique sound.
yeah, I mean, Rory he was very aware of a lot of music. I mean, you know,
Right,
his roots were in blues, you know, but I've really listened to like pop music, and we listened to a lot of different stuff, you know. So that sort of blend of Rory's blues playing
right.
and you know, pop culture, you know, whatever it may be, you know. I mean songs like Tattooed Lady and things like that. I mean, they're not really blues songs; they're more like a sort of pop song, you know, a rock song, whatever you want to call it.
Right. I mean, he's an undisputed legend of that era. I mean, maybe not known as much these days, unfortunately, but that's why I wanted to talk to you especially about him and your stuff, because you guys really had an impact on music back then, and you still do in some way.
Yeah,
People don't realize it.
I mean, it's still out there. I mean, it's still a lot of people that you know listen to Rory's
Oh
music.
yeah,
You know, it's and I think the Gallagher family do a great job of
yeah.
keeping the fire alight. You know.
Yes, you are. And then I love the Old Grey Whistle Test show. That was
Yeah.
really great. I just wanted to mention that before we move on to your music. And before we move on, when did Rory start using the Fender guitar? Has that always been his main instrument?
That was the first main instrument that his mum bought for him.
Okay.
That was back in '60, whatever it may be. Yeah, yeah. He managed to get it. That
It didn't
belonged
look
to.
like he used a lot of effect. He just
No,
did
not
he
really a
play?
lot.
No, I mean that's like some of the other classic guitars back then. They just plugged directly into their amp, like Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had respect for Jeff Beck too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. When you have respect for them all, for Clapton, for Jeff Beck, for Jimmy,
Oh
you know.
yeah, and you saw all those guys, so you were lucky to be part of that. So
Indeed, yeah.
after that, you went into a band called Nine Below Zero. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, what was it? I mean, I was 20 years with Rory, you know, and within that time, I was writing music anyway, you know, because I always wrote songs, you know, and I sort of got to a stage where I wanted to express that myself, you know,
Right.
and I thought, I mean, well, after 20 years, maybe it's time to move on, you know, and maybe it would have been good for Rory as well, I mean, to have different players come in, you know, because I've been there for 20 years, you know. So I decided to move on and joined Nine Below Zero, and that lasted for another 20 years.
Wow. Holy smoke.
Yeah.
So what kind of music was this? I didn't get a chance to listen to too much of it yet, but what was this music like?
The best way to explain it was like punk blues, because the band were formed in 1981, so it was like at the height of the punk explosion, and that, you know. But basically, they were a blues band, but they played with very high energy, you know. So it sort of got that blues punk label, whatever, for want of a better title, you know.
Right. Did you guys play in the U.S. at all? Did you play a lot of Did you play in New York at all?
We did. We did a tour with Alvin Lee.
Oh my gosh, Alvin Lee.
In the States. This would have been
another legend.
Yeah, this would have been around '93.
Okay.
We did about a 6-week tour of the States, coast to coast. It was great, Alvin. And what it was actually, myself and Brenton, the drummer, we were the rhythm section for Alvin. So we would open up with Nine Below Zero, and then Brendan and I would join Alvin on stage, and we would be the Alvin Lee band.
Oh wow, that's another legend.
Yeah. And we did another tour with Alana Miles doing the same thing. 9 Below Zero would open up for her, and then Brendan and I would be the rhythm section for Alana Miles.
Oh, I remember that post-punk world very well. I was in a band in the early '80s playing post-punk music, so that was especially in New York, that was a big deal.
Oh yeah.
That was really happening. So, how many records did you do? A few records with them?
With 9 Below Zero?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about 9 or 10 albums. I think.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of records there. And was it kind of like touring? Was it in that, that pace of music?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
It is.
That's.
But I mean, if you enjoy, you have to enjoy it. If you enjoy it, I mean, that's what's important.
And especially if you got people coming out. If there's a good crowd and they're into your music.
Absolutely.
That the energy of the crowd has to feed off the music. It's very hard to do a show.
Absolutely, I agree.
So now you started the Band of Friends, and you've been in that band. How long has that been now?
That kicked off around 2012. I left 9 Below Zero towards the end of 2011.
Okay.
And I put the band together early 2012. I managed to get in touch with our old drummer who played with Rory, also a guy called Ted McKenna, who sadly we lost a couple of years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and Ted and I found this young guitar player in Holland, Amsterdam, a guy called Marcel Schippenzel. Okay. So we just took it out on the road, and it sort of snowballed from there and got bigger and bigger. So, I mean, it's gone through many changes now up until the present date. So at the moment, I just use different musicians, whenever, and which is enjoyable for me because it's nice to play with different guys as well. I mean, it sort of keeps it alive, Are
you playing some of Rory's music and your music? What a blend of stuff?
Yeah, blend of stuff. I mean, I'd say it's probably about 60-70% Rory stuff.
Okay.
In a fashion that I enjoy playing it. Not sticking strictly to the the way Rory would have done it. I mean, but close enough.
Yeah. And where you guys mostly play? In Europe? I see. I tried to get you earlier, but you were middle of a tour. So where do you actually? Where's your big audience at?
Well, we do a lot in Europe. We've done 4 tours of the USA actually.
Oh wow! Okay.
Band of Friends. I think the first one was 2018. We did a tour this with Ted, myself, and a young guitar player who lives in Chicago, a guy called Davey Knowles.
Oh, how about that? Huh.
He's a great player. He's actually from the Isle of Man, which is between Ireland and England, but he resides in Chicago now with his family. So we did 4 tours with Davey and Ted McKenna. Ted did 3 tours, and sadly we lost him on the last tour. Brett and Neil came on board. So we've done coast to coast 4 tours.
Wow! I wish I saw you guys. Are you coming back?
Well, it depends on your government as far as. Yeah, I would love to. It's just
I know.
The working visa is like, wow, that's astronomical. It's crazy.
Well, it's gone crazy here too. To go to the UK now, you have to fill out an application.
Really?
For U.S. citizens. So it's becoming harder and harder to travel. And then May 7th, they have this new ID for your license. So you can't get on a plane unless you have that
It's crazy.
license or your passport. in the U.S.
Wow.
So they've really gotten strict on flying, and it's become kind of hard for people to get over here
No, it's crazy.
or to go.
Madness.
It's
Anyway.
not easy.
No.
So I feel feeling bad about your equipment being stolen. I read about that. I'm very sorry. That happened recently at the last tour?
Yeah. The last tour, the German tour, I think it was about the 8th or 9th show in a place in Germany called Bremen. But I mean, anyway, the police are still trying to handle it.
It's low.
I know, it's a bummer. It really is.
So what are you going to do next? Are you going to be playing another tour coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of shows in the UK with Band of Friends, and then we go to we're doing the Rory Gallagher Festival.
Oh, wow!
In Ballyshannon in County Donegal in Ireland. It's a big festival. It's great, yeah. So that's at the end of the month. So we're over there for a couple of shows.
Is that every year?
That's every year, yeah. Yeah, that's great, and they get some great artists on there. In fact, this year it's the headliners are Band of Friends and Jimmy Vaughan.
Oh boy!
So Jimmy's coming over. Yeah,
and I'm sure in Ireland you still have a big fan base for Rory, right? For his music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you've been very lucky to play with him, and then you're doing your music still. It's really great that you're still doing music.
Absolutely.
And curious, did you get the? I mean, Rory had this big auction of guitars. Did you happen to get any of his guitars? No. Did he leave you anything?
No, not really. No.
It's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, we were in Germany when that was going on, when the auction was going on. So we watched it on the TV. Which is very, very interesting. But I'm glad that the Stratocaster went back to Ireland. That's important.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have the memories of such amazing amount of shows and experiences that nobody else could have like you have, and it's really fantastic. Well, Gerry, I want to thank you for spending a little time here. Where can we find your music at? What's the best place?
I go on to Spotify. You find it. It's all over Spotify.
Okay. And do you have a website?
Yeah. It's bandofriends.co.uk.
You do, right? Do you have
bandofriends.co.uk? Yeah.
And are you on Bandcamp at all, or any of the digital services?
No, I don't take care of that. Somebody else takes care of all that.
Oh, okay. That's fine. So thank you again for coming on. It's been a real pleasure and honor to meet you. And,
thank you, Dennis.
And thank you again for spending a little time with us. And you have a great day out there. Oh,
you take care now.
In France, right?
Yeah.
Are you in Paris or?
No, we're in the sort of central France. It's called the Loire Valley.
Okay, because I saw on a friend of mine's over there for vacation. He said there was a major hailstorm in Paris.
Oh, really? Oh, in Paris there was. My wife was up. Yeah, she said it was crazy. Yeah.
Unbelievable! It looked like the middle of winter. It was nuts.
Anyway.
All right. Well, anyway, you have
Dennis.
a good day out there, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you very much.
Cheers now.
Keep
See
in
ya.
touch.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye.